Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to mighty Akim, Wakwathim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this foul captivity, as well as the speckled bird that may look like the other nations, but are actually Yasharallah. This is Brother Kawa Cup coming at you with no lesson. Today's lesson, it's going to be on, this, James chapter 1, verse 19. James chapter 1 verse 19, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. And the lesson here is basically being more willing to, hold on, what is it? Is there another? Yes, there is. Okay, so Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 1, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of Yahweh, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifices of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. So basically, we need to be more willing or more ready to listen rather than speak, because in all honesty, when you're too willing to, let me just mute this so that you can't, you have to be more willing to listen rather than speaking, because oftentimes people make a fool out of themselves due to their lack of knowledge. Because the problem is that the issue is that a lot of times people, they're always talking about something. They always say, oh, this and the third, whatever, and they speak as if they are knowledgeable on a particular subject, when in actuality they don't know the subject. They're just talking to fill the space, basically filibustering, which is actually, I'll just show you the definition of that if I can get my thing right. Filibuster, basically, a filibuster is a political procedure primarily in the U.S. Senate where a member or group delays or blocks a vote on legislation by engaging in an extended debate or other obstructive tactics. It is designed to prevent a bill from passing by stalling the voting process, or often requiring a 60-vote cloture to end the debate. So basically, it's just like extending and being contentious just for the sake of it, in order to stall. And in order to stall, or just to stall. I think that's the best way to say, just in order to stall. So as a result of their desire to stall, they don't think about or they don't actually care about engaging in the actual topics. So as a result of that, yes, that's where you have this major issue. Now, the reason why this is, where is it? Okay, so now the reason why I brought this up is because, number one, I saw this, James chapter 1 verse 9. I saw this and I thought, okay, you know what? Yeah, I definitely want to make a lesson on this. And in addition to that, I also remembered this. Not this. This. Yes, this. And I'm gonna let the video play a little bit. I was gonna play it in the beginning, but I thought it would be better if I just let it play here. I'm not gonna full screen it because I don't know if they're gonna like copy. Well, I'll put it on full screen. Maybe, hopefully they won't like copyright strike or whatever.
Full of shit. You understand that? You full of shit.
Not being able to speak is not the same as not speaking. You seem as if you like to talk. I like to let people talk who like to talk. It makes it easier to find out how full of shit they are.
So basically, I don't know why the thing is slowing down now all of a sudden, but basically he was explaining how it's better to let people talk, because people that like to talk, they oftentimes talk themselves into a corner. Even when it comes to whatever you want to talk about. Sometimes when people are talking a lot, they end up saying something else that is unrelated to the topic, and then they trap themselves and make themselves look stupid. When it comes to I should not say debates. So forgive me on using the term debate. But when it comes to decisive conversations where there's actual intellect, where you would expect actual intellect, it's a lot better for us to just say, oh, these are the clear points, and this is the reason why we believe in we do or whatever we would do now. So as a result of that, that's how we come to a clear and concise conclusion. All right. So as a result of that, that's why it's just better to say, okay, what if I have to bring something out, then I'm going to tell them, okay, I'm answering this, I'm doing this, and I'm done. There's nothing else to be added. Let me also get this, Slocky, bear with me. It's give a bear with me one more. It's always okay. So 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 15. But sanctify the Lord Yahawah in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. And that this is the thing where we always have to be ready to say, okay, you know what? Why do you believe in this? Why do you say this? Or what is your stance on X, Y, and Z? And your stance can't just be, oh, I just think, or I think, or that, and whatnot. How do you come to the conclusion that you've established, or any stance that you decide? You can't, and your stance should not just be, oh, I'm just following along with the crowd and stuff like that. Which even then, when it comes to it, it should be over here. Let me get this as well. Romans chapter 14 verse 5. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. So you have to be able to say, I believe in this because of X, Y, and Z, and being able to break it down on your own. Because again, how is it that people believe in the things that they believe in if they can't substantiate it? And you know what is funny? I have met a lot of people that do not, they believe in certain things. I'm not going to say what it is, because I'm pretty sure this video will get taken down for bullying. Ow. But basically, when it comes to some of the more common beliefs and the common I don't know what the fuck's the thing. Commonly socially acceptable ways of life. All right. If you actually break that down and explain, oh, why is this okay? Why is this not okay? Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that? And whatnot. People, they don't. When you try to explain that or go into why something is okay or why something is not okay, you ask, why do you think that this is okay and stuff like that, then they can't actually defend it. They don't have any proper defending points, and the reason why is because if you permit what they currently think is okay, and I have to be specific here, and you also use the phrasing that they use, then by their logic you can do worse things. That's basically how they're wrong. Aside from that, going back into the original topic, where's the first thing? So back to the original topic, that's why it's better to just, again, listen, being able to listen, because you need to have understanding. You need to be able to comprehend, because when people that talk people that talk a lot, they ironically don't have much to say, because not cause, but yes, that's basically the reality of it. And we should see, and we can see that with how just the dumbest people are always the ones that's yapping and stuff like that. And that's where that term comes from. Yap, all right, yapping, nagging, whatever the frick the term is, where people just go on a whole spiel of insignificant babble. All right, like that's basically what it is. All right, it's like who cares about any of this type of stuff? What does this stuff have to do with it? And it's just like, oh, my grandma did this, that, and the third one, and stuff like that, and then bring up random jumbled in topics that don't have anything to do with each other, but are just stuff that come out of their mouth like word vomit. All right, no cohesive thought. All right, now with that being said, let's continue on. I read this. Did I read this? Yes, I read this. So basically, yes, at the end of the day, be more willing to listen and I'm not saying that what people say is worth listening to. I mean it to say that when you're listening to someone speak, you should be able to pinpoint, okay, where their argument falls apart or where they're coming from and stuff like that, so that you can, shut them down and whatnot in general. All right, but also in a sense of like letting someone else talk a lot. Oftentimes you're able, especially if you are accused of something, like say for example, if you're accused of something and then someone is constantly talking and saying all these different type of stuff to try to use the people around you's emotion in order to make you seem like a worse person. It is better that you actually let them talk and let them keep on digging that hole, because in all honesty, if a lot of times when they are speaking in something that just like recently happened, you're able to say, okay, you're able to listen, and then when they say something, you can pick out what they said that is an inconsistency or that does not line up, especially if you are innocent. And then you're say like, oh wait, I didn't say about that, or no one knew about that, or no one knew, or that was never the case. Here's the evidence that proves that this person is lying and stuff like that, where then you're able to easily disprove the other person and show that they are lying. So something to take note, something to remember, Slakia. So continuing on, Proverbs 17 verse 28, even a fool when he holdeth his peace is counted wise, and he that shuts his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. And that's another thing where, let's say for example, you are in a professional setting where there's people that's talking on super hard, complex discussions or whatever, all right, and you don't understand what's going on. All you have to do is just be quiet. And even if you're the dumbest, even if you are in fact the dumbest person in that room, you will still look smart, because you're not trying to compete with them. You're not trying to fit in and stuff like that. You just say, oh wow, okay, yes, that's good, and then you just keep your mouth shut, basically, like that. And this is Slakia, I just find it very fascinating that the scriptures literally show off all this wisdom, where you're able to understand that just keeping quiet, all right, keeping quiet shows you how to keeping quiet, even if you're not wise, is already a wise thing. Like these are ways to kind of compensate for your lack of knowledge, lack of whatever and stuff like that, because this is like this is genuine wisdom. You don't need to be a freaking mathematician or a scientist or whatever, or a scholar, in order to apply these things and be knowledgeable enough. All right, now continuing on, Proverbs 15 verse 5, a fool despises his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. And again, there's just so much justification for why, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and whatnot, rather than taking a step back to think, am I right for saying this? Am I right for doing this? Am I right for X, Y, and Z? Or am I just, and again, like, oftentimes people that justify themselves, they go off on a yap session rather than, and that was in here as well, where he was Chris Tucker's character, not Chris Tucker. Yes, Chris Tucker was proven wrong. All right. And he made a fool out of himself, making all those assumptions, and he just showed, oh look, I just, you were making all this assumption, you were saying all these different things, but I was letting you talk, I was letting you make a conclusion while I was just staying quiet. All right, I didn't even need to talk in order to make you look like a fool. All right, so that's, again, like, that's the amazing aspect of it. All right, so a fool is by this. Yeah, next, continuing on, Matthew chapter 18, verse 3, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Also, let me get this while we're at it. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 2, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. And this is the best way to end it off, that as little children, they don't know stuff, so what they do, they listen when you speak, when you're teaching them, when you're showing them, hey, there's this, there's that, or whatever, stuff like that. They are quiet and they're absorbing the knowledge. So you should also be in the same way, where you are quiet and you're mimicking the tendencies of children, in the sense of, okay, I don't know what everything that's going on, so as a result of that, I'm going to also be quiet. I'm not going to try to overcompensate, to try to force understanding, force myself to seem wiser than I am, when all I have to do is just be quiet. All right, and again, like, that's the hardships about it, where just literally not talking oftentimes is the best option. All right, so with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, SHAMAIWAN, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Bible Ball, and Shalom.